Today, I'm going to talk one more library for the Java applications. Whenever our Java application required to work with the JSON data, so this is the one of also most popular and simplified version of a JSON library, that is the JSON. And that is provided by the Google. But JSON is also very lightweight and simple library that help us for the Java developer. They can easily work on the JSON. That means if we are developing API or receiving API, a consuming API. So generally, the service one, maybe this is the service one, are producing some API, service two consuming some API, right? So generally, data are exchanged in the form of a JSON. JSON. JSON is now a standard format to data exchanging between the services. So our application here required to generate JSON, and this application required to parse JSON, read JSON. So this JSON kind of a Google library that help us to perform all the JSON, right? Read JSON, write JSON, parse JSON, uh, every operations very simplified way. So let's look the example so that we can understand. Okay. So first, let's little bit talk about the JSON. So as I talked, JSON is a Java library developed by the Google itself to convert Java object into the JSON and JSON object to the Java. So these are the two major JSON operations whenever you are working. So in the Java terms like serializations and deserialization. That means whenever we have Java object, you want to convert to the JSON content. That is known as a serializations. Whenever we have a JSON file, JSON content, and you want to again convert to the Java object, so that is known as a deserialization. That means we have a Java object, convert to the JSON. JSON object again convert back to the Java object. So serialization, deserialization. This is the many times the terminology also is whenever we are talking about the Java application, serialization and deserialization. Whenever you are converting Java object state in the particular format, maybe JSON format, XML format, byte array streams, any kind of operations. Okay. So first, whenever you are going to use this JSON library, that you have to require the dependency. So as of now, this is the latest dependency about the JSON. And if you want, just you copy this and just Google ambient this library and search. Then you found this Maven repository, and this Maven repository you check, this is the latest version 231. Just click here, and this is the your dependency. I think the same dependency I have. So let's add this dependency here. Just copy them, copy them, and let's put in our application. This is the form library, and in this library we have to add one dependency known as a JSON. Once done, just reload everything. Here you are. So this is the first thing, you have to add this JSON library in your applications. So once you add, so now we are able to create the instance of JSON object. So Google provide very simplified. Just create a just put one liner, just one liner kind of in your application. Whenever you want to start, just write a one liner up. And so now once you write, you are able to, you have to just what you are saying. Okay, let me reload again. everything happen JSON. Okay, JSON. So you can simply just write your. So now notice this is the JSON is the simple Java. Google's provide simple library class. Also, this is the final class. Just you can create the new JSON. Now JSON, this instance, this object help us to convert, read, write all the JSON content. Okay, so let's look here. If let's we want to create one Java object, let's see, we can just create one Java object so that we just create one Java. So here I can just created one record, and that's name, age, and gender. And you can just create one user object. So this is the just one user object, and if I just S out Java object, Java object user, and if you run here, so notice this is the one Java object. So this is the simple. We have one record like a name, age, developer, and you can just create the one instance. That's I created one instance. That name user, pass user, age, and is developer, and this simple. So now let's move to the next. Now you have a Java object. Now you want to convert Java object to the JSON. That is, we are going to do serialization. So for serialization, we have a very simple method that is known as a to JSON. So JSON API provide one method to JSON and pass the Java object. Whenever you are passing here Java object, they are converted back to the JSON string representation. And if you run, you notice this is the string representation of your JSON. So this is a very simple API that is known as a to JSON. So what we did here, we have a one Java object. User is the Java object, and you can just pass this Java object to the API to JSON. And this API convert back to the JSON string. So this is simple API to JSON. You can just create the object of your JSON and use the this using this instance. You can just call the to JSON and pass the Java object, and they can provide your string representation. And sometime you want maybe let's if you look this string, this is a simple string representation right now. Sometime I want to very JSON formatted JSON, then how you can print the formatted JSON here. So for that you have to just customize this whatever the here we can create the JSON object default. This is the string representation, but you want to them. You can change the behavior. No, I want to this JSON should be in a formatted JSON. Then how will conceive? Then we have to create the object with the property. Like we have to create. Just import this class. So now this is the one JSON builder. You can set the property. Hey, I want to set pretty printer. So now this JSON, just create a JSON object. Now this JSON object which you created, now they have a property behavior change printer. And now you can say to JSON and pass the user, and you can get very pretty formatted JSON. Notice here, if you run. So notice this is the properly formatted JSON, right? Maybe you can say slash n. So this is the properly formatted JSON. So whenever you want to kind of a readable format, then you can set the pretty printing option. Else by default they are just give the string representation. The both you can do. You want to customize, then you can just use a JSON builder and set pretty printer and then create. Now this is the builder JSON builder, then create the JSON object and after that you can do all the operations whatever you want, right? And so now let's back again. Now we have a JSON. Now I want to convert the Java object. That means we have a JSON file, like this is the, let's we have a JSON file, and now I want to convert to the Java file. That means the deserialization process. Okay, so let us we have a one simple string, right? Name Smith, age anything that says 40, is developer. Okay, Samir. Okay, Samir is the name, age is the 40, is developer. That's true, and this is a string. Now you want to convert to the Java object, so you can say JSON library from. Now here to JSON means they are converting to the JSON. From JSON means from JSON they can convert back to the user object. Here you can mention the class which you want to convert, the particular object they are created. So now we can get the deserialization means from the string JSON to convert Java object. This is the deserialization process. If you run, now you are able to complete get the Java object. This is the complete, you are getting the Java object. Java object in Java. So, so, so the very simple API. Till now, notice there are two simple, very simple API. One API is the to JSON. That means you are passing Java object and getting the JSON data. Again, apply from JSON. From JSON means you pass the JSON, you pass the JSON, and this API give you the Java object. Okay, here you can pass the Java object. This API written to the JSON. So simple to JSON means you are passing the Java object and getting the JSON string format. From JSON, just pass the string representation and change. Hey, I want to use a Java. So they can create the. This is a serialization. This is the deserialization process. Okay. So this is the maybe sometime you receive the string, but you don't have any inbuilt classes. Then you how you can parse it? So notice here we have to pass the user class which I want to convert. So maybe sometime you are calling some third-party API, they give you just a string representation, and here you have not any inbuilt predefined classes. Then still you want to some fill some key and some value from the JSON. Then how you get? So this JSON also support dynamic parsing. You can say just whatever the string you have, just use this. Okay. So we have a concept of your like a JSON object is the one import class. So this is the one class JsonParser. Now here we're not going to the JSON library. You can say JsonParser is the one of the more library. They have a parse string. You can parse the string and they return simple JSON object. JSON object look like a map. They have a key and value. Generally, if you remember, JSON is the file. JSON is the file that contains key and value. This is the open brace, and this is the curly brace. This is the key, and this is the value. Again, key. This is the value. Again, key. This is the value. Okay. So what this JSON parser did, you can pass this complete JSON string and they return one JSON object. What is the JSON object? This JSON object in our application we are not created. This provided by the Google JSON library for us. And now this is look like a key. You just need to pass the key and get the value. Here, this is a JSON object. I can say get name. So I can get the name value. Get age, I can get the age value. I can is developer, you can get the. So this is the way simplified. Now you can get the individual value whatever you want. Maybe you are calling some third party API, the returns you want to specific 2 or 3 value, just use the parse string. Parse string just pass the string representation, they return the JSON object. From this JSON object look like a map, they have a key value, you pass the key name and get the value. So here you can say uh, uh, delete. Okay, so this parse string is the method that can take input as a just JSON. You can say JSON representation of a string, and they not need any kind of a here. In the case of from JSON, you have to pass a string and pass the object, which object you want to convert. Here you're not passing any object, just there by default they return one JSON object. That is the provided by the Google library JSON. And from this is a key, look like a map, and here you can pass the JSON library object dot get name, get age, get description, and you get the proper value. Run, and you can get this properly parse details well whatever you want. So this is also very kind of handy, and many places in our application we can use. Basically, whenever you are calling the unknown a third party application and you don't want to convert the bigger JSON file into the complete object, just you want to make interested the 2 or 3 field, so you don't need to write your Java class for that. Just use this JsonParser, parse the JSON, get the Java JSON object, and after this Java object, you can retrieve whatever the field you want. Okay. Sometime maybe you want to, let's write JSON object to the not just here. Notice here we are just printing in our console. Just but I want to that data can go inside the file. Sometime you're interested. So is the Google library support? Yes, that is example. So here let us just you created one Java object, and here you can use the file writer. Just import the file writer. There throw exception. Okay. Now you can say, hey, this is the one Java object. I want to save in the user.json. Okay, and the same, notice the same library which say 2JSON. Notice that here we are using the 2JSON. This is the 2JSON. Pass the user object, but this JSON library also take the second parameter. If you want to save in the file, you can just tell the file writer. So this object they are going to write in this file, and now this users file created. If here there is no such file here, let's I run this code. If I run this code, now this user file is created. Notice this is the formatted JSON we are getting the file. So good part for writing JSON in a file, or you want to convert JSON into the string. There is no separate API. Only one API to JSON. This is overloaded method. If you just pass the only one argument, they return the JSON. If you pass the 2 argument, they write in the file, whatever the file name you are mentioning. The good part, this is the same API used for the converting to the string representation, or same API used to writing to the file as well. To JSON, means from Java object to the JSON object. Maybe some, let's key you have a not you want to write file, just you want to read. Let's key you want to read this file. Okay, instead let's key I just commented out. Okay, now this file already written here. This is the file already written here. I want to read this file. Okay, so how going to read? Instead of that, here you are going to use the file reader is the class file reader, and you can say this is the user file I want to read. So notice here also the same from JSON. Notice here we are using the from JSON to convert string to the Java object. The same API also use from string. First parameter you have to pass the file. If you have something file, mention the file reader, which file we have to read. So Google JSON library read this file and convert the JSON into the Java object. This is also deserialization from the file. And now you are getting the user Java user object from this user file. Okay, if you run, notice that this is the users. This is my users John 42, and you can get the Java object. You can get the Java object. So this is the good part in this JSON library, is that they are not using the separate library, separate method for the file read write. Just same from JSON method is the overloaded. If you pass the file, they can read from the file. If you not pass the file, like here we not pass the any kind of file, then we can pass the JSON string representation. They can from JSON string they can convert to the Java object. So writing to the file and reading to the file, we as a developer just need to pass the file handler, file writer for write, file reader for reading. API is the same to JSON or from JSON. So now till now we have a one object users, and we can properly write data, read data, convert to the JSON to the. So sometime we are not only work on the one object. Maybe we have a list of users you are getting. So from database, let's say you want to return all the users from the particular department. Maybe department have hundreds of the employee. So you have hundreds of the users Java object. Now you want to respond to the maybe JSON. So how we can convert the list of object? Okay, so let's just create one list. So this is the list of users. We can converted the list of users. So this is the we have a list of users. Now from here, we are going to write to the particular file. Okay, so so let's here we are a same file writer. We can use the file writer. Same users of JSON. A same API here also for the one object or the list of object. API is the same to JSON. You have a Java object, the to JSON. You have the list here pass and the writer pass. Now they are going to convert all the users in the JSON form. Let's run it. Run it. Now this is the user JSON created. So notice this is the user JSON created and all the data are here. So same library work for a single object, and same library or same method work for the collections of the users. So here we're not using any separate method. ToString used for the single. If you pass the single object, it's work. If you pass the list of users, it still works. Similarly, if you want to, let's say, read all the users from the particular file. Okay, so you have already written this. Just comment out this code, commented the code, and let's say I want to read all the users, whatever the users in this user file. Here, this is the user file. I want to read in the Java object. Maybe wait. So here again, is JSON library provides the same API right here from JSON, and you just say, hey, this is the reader, this is the files you want to read, and I want to return not the one but the array of users. Just specify the array, and you can just you want to convert to list of and pass this the file name and the same user library from JSON, and they return your list of users. And this is the list of users, and you want to print everything, you can print them. Notice this is the number of files 6 user and all the users we are printed. So in short, JSON is a very simple API. There is no kind of a more additional methods provided for, just two API, two methods from JSON and to JSON, to JSON and the from JSON, and sufficient for every operations in the Java. Maybe JSON to Java, Java to JSON, and everything. So if you look here, be carefully. So JSON provided two API, one about the to JSON, another API from JSON. This two API is sufficient. Maybe you can pass here one user or the list of user. They can maybe you want to directly convert to the string, then they can convert the string. If you want to convert to the list or file, you can just pass the file directly. Similarly, for the same API, you can pass the here one user or the list of user, array of user, they can work. So the only one API to JSON and from JSON, and this is solve our purpose. So here whole example, whatever you did, and just use the only two API to JSON and from JSON. So simplified, you can say JSON given only the two JSON and the two from JSON. From JSON. And this is for the deserialization, this is for the serialization. That means here you pass the Java object, here you pass the JSON. Here you can get the JSON, here you get the Java object. And if you want to list, you can pass the list, you can pass the array, you can get everything. And one things also we learned today, JsonParser. JsonParser is also one library where you have a JSON, but you don't want to specific your application based object conversion. You just want to just parse, and after parse the specific set of key value you want to get, you can use the JsonParser. JsonParser that parse string, pass the JSON, and you get the JSON object. From this JSON object, you pass the particular key you want, you can get the key. So these are the little bit content about the JSON. So we have a JSON, Google provided library. They given the two API for us. One is the to JSON, one is the from JSON. Okay, and here for your serialization, here for your deserialization. That means you pass the Java object, here you pass the this API, you pass the Java object, and you can get the JSON. This is the deserialization. Here you can pass the JSON string, and you can get the Java object. So Java object. This is a simple method. Take one Java object. If you have a list, you can pass the list as well as it will work for the list. Similarly, not just one JSON, you can pass the list of JSON. This work for. So only same API, two JSON for Java serialization, object to string, from JSON, from string, from JSON to Java object. And one more, we study about the JsonParser. JsonParser pass the JSON and convert the JSON object. From the JSON object, you can get the particular key and particular value, whatever you want. You don't want to convert complex big JSON to the Java object and then get the specific value. Just let them JSON library handle. JSON library provide the JSON object that can completely parse them, and from the JSON object you can get the specific attribute, specific key you want to get. So JSON is a very simplified version. You can say for the Java library, for the Java developer, anyone can just include in our application and just pass the JSON and get the Java. Pass the JSON, get the Java object. Pass the Java object, get the JSON string. Even you want to write the file, you can write the provide the file writer. You can go to write. You want to read file, you can file reader. Even you can work this library work for the one object or maybe list of objects. Everything is very simplified first. Whenever in your application you require to JSON read and write, generally in a microservice environment, REST API environment, you must need to work on the JSON content. So for those, you can use this JSON library. This is very handy, very simple, and very you can say only two, three methods solve all your purpose. So that's the content for today. Hope this information is giving very little bit idea about the JSON operation. Again, last say thank you.